Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back, putting a positive spin on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. I'm gonna come right out and say it. This one is an easy one for me to give a positive spin, because I love this sequel. The Next Generation, as I'm sure you all know, is the fourth film in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Coincidentally, it's also probably fourth in my ranking of that series. TCM4 is sort of a unique one for positive spin, because while this movie still does get a lot of hate, it seems to have gained sort of a cult following as of late. I'd compare it in some ways to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's another movie that got a lot more hate years ago than it does now. I know some will disagree with that, but just look online. TCM4 has started to get some more love, but it definitely deserves even more, and the hate was never deserved, in my opinion. This was, of course, our introduction to Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. Both, in my opinion, were pretty phenomenal in their roles. Renee Zellweger as final girl Jenny, and Matthew McConaughey as the absolute lunatic Vilmer. Those two are my first two big positives of this positive spin. Renee Zellweger made an awesome final girl in her first feature film role. McConaughey as Vilmer is so over-the-top incredible, it's as if he wasn't even following a script. I picture writer-director Kim Henkel just saying to him, "Go nuts, Matt." If that name, Kim Henkel, sounds familiar, it's because he was the co-writer along with Tobe Hooper of the original The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This movie, though, TCM4, is the only one he ever directed himself. Kim Henkel plays an important role in this positive spin, because he was one of the original writers of The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Tobe Hooper seems to get all of the credit, being the director as well, and he rightfully does deserve a lot of credit. But why not give some of the credit to Kim Henkel as well? For me, it goes more in line with the sequels. Kim Henkel wrote this as a direct sequel to the original TCM, just as Tobe Hooper wrote TCM2 as a direct sequel. Why then doesn't Tobe Hooper get as much hate for TCM2? Sure, he definitely gets some because he went in a different route. He purposely changed the tone of his sequel, knowing he would never match the original. Well, Kim Henkel does the same here with The Next Generation. Only, in my opinion, it's not as goofy as TCM2. And I say that as a fan of both. The Next Generation, I'd say, is wilder. Before I get into more specifics about the actual movie, let's just briefly discuss this VHS cover. I love this. Look at the chainsaw lipstick. And then on the back, you have transvestite Leatherface, which, again, is very important for this positive spin, and I'll tell you why. I'm sure we're all aware that Leatherface was very loosely based on Ed Gein. He was a cannibal and a serial killer who literally dressed up in women's skin. The Leatherface depicted in The Next Generation is much more true to that, in my opinion. The late Robert Jacks plays a very feminine version of our serial killer. It's also interesting to note that Leatherface only kills one person in this entire film. The rest of the body count comes from Matthew McConaughey's character, Vilmer. Maybe some people don't like that, but I'm fine with it, especially with how over-the-top Vilmer is. He's so fun to watch. He's so uninhibited. There are no limits to what he might do. He just doesn't care. He doesn't have that human side. Not that many of these characters do, but we do kind of see that as the sequels go on. Think about Leatherface in TCM2, for example, how he's attracted to Stretch. Vilmer, on the other hand, is completely mental. There is just no getting through to him. TCM, The Next Generation, feels the most like a traditional slasher film for me. It's a group of young people having car trouble in the woods after prom, being stalked and picked off one by one. The murderer's family in this one is memorable, too. I love W.E. and his quotes. I don't think he gets enough credit. Robert Jacks is scary as the transvestite Leatherface. He does a lot of disturbing shrieking throughout the film. Vilmer yells a lot too. There's just this constant feeling of impending doom. Everything is so out of control and over the top. I've used that phrase quite a few times already, but it perfectly describes this film. With this TCM film feeling the most like a traditional slasher, we also get something that is oddly not featured in the others: gratuitous nudity. Strange that there is only one nude scene in the entire TCM franchise, and it's in this sequel. You know what? Scratch that. I just realized Leatherface, the prequel film, also features nudity. But other than that, this is the only other one. I'd say that's a positive, wouldn't you? The Next Generation, in my opinion, also has one of the greatest chase scenes in the franchise. And this franchise has a lot of great chase scenes. The one in this features Renee Zellweger on the roof of the house and hanging from a wire. Renee is super cute in this, by the way. She's truly adorable with those big glasses. I also love the chase scene at the end with the camper and the helicopter. Yup, like I said, over the top. TCM4 has a great atmosphere. There's a lot of mist, good color tones. The dinner scene in this sequel might be the most disturbing of all the TCM dinner scenes, and I truly mean that. And then there's the twist. And oh wow, what a twist it is. I know some people hate it, but I love it. Kim Henkel, with his TCM sequel, did decades earlier what Joss Whedon did with The Cabin in the Woods. He also included cameos from the original Sally and Franklin, both of whom were not featured in Tobe Hooper's sequel. That's not a knock on Hooper or TCM2. I love that movie too. And I'm sure Jason and I will be discussing that one eventually for the Positive Spin series as well. If I had to choose though, I do prefer Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. Guys, I love this sequel. It does not deserve the hate. But you don't have to agree. This is just my positive spin. Be sure, as always, to check out Jason's as well to hear what he has to say about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. What do you think? Comment below and let me know. Which hated film will we next give a positive spin? Check back soon to find out. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.